Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor. Here. John Marshall. Here. Nick Nosovich.
Here.
Dan Rohaley. Dick Sauerman. Here.
Approval of the minutes. Minutes have been circulated. Are there any corrections, additions, comments? I have a motion by Mr. Sauerman for approval. I will second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, call roll.
Jeremy Taylor. Dan Rohaley. Yes. John Marshall. Dick Sauerman. Yes. Nick Nosovich.
Yes. We have no old business, new business. First on the docket is petition 25-18. Julie Karsten petitioner, ASP Realty Incorporated owner. Request is a variance from development standards. Purpose is to allow seasonal greenhouse, location 26 North Main Street. Is there someone here to speak to this petition?
Yes, there is.
You'll state your name and address for the record and tell us what you'd like to do.
So my name is Joseph Neary. I'm the store manager at 1276 North Main Street, Velasco. Looking to get approval for the variance on the greenhouse in the parking lot.
All right. Mr. Watson?
Yeah. Jewel has on 6 separate occasions applied for and has been granted a variance petition 1406 a year ago, or for 1 year approval, 1510 for 5 years, 1109 for 3 years, 1507 for 3 years, 1808 for 5 years, 2309 for 2 years, and now this one. Over 17 years of successful operation of the seasonal greenhouse. It is the recommendation of the planning department that the petitioner be granted a permanent variance. The variance should be subject to an exact location and time frame which can be decided by the board. If a problem or change arises, the petitioner would be required to come back to the board for further review. This is a seasonal service provided to the residents of Crown Point. Providing a permanent variance would be reasonable based on the past history of the petitioner and lack of problems reported to the city on the greenhouse. No letters of remonstration or support have been received by the planning department. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail, and the notice has been published. Planning department recommends permanent approval of petition BZA 2518.
Thank you very much. Mr. Taylor, any questions?
If we give the permanent approval, what are the dates that you are requesting to have it?
Would be the middle of May through the second week of June.
That's all I have.
Mr. Marshall?
Well, I know you've been here several times, and I don't know if I'm wild about a permanent variance, but I would be willing to go like 5 years or something. I don't know. I'm real excited about a forever one, but other than that, I don't have any objections.
Mr. Rohaley?
No question.
Mr. Sauerman?
Just to go back to the question that you just answered, you said May through June. Did you mean March through June?
Correct. I'm sorry.
Your
yes.
okay, your
Yes,
season.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Middle of March through the second week
okay,
of June.
all right. I mean, I've always had a question about this. This is their property. They can pretty much put a greenhouse wherever they want, as long as it doesn't get in the way of any type of fire or emergency type of vehicles, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. We see this, it seems like every year we see this, but it's been 2 years, huh? Yeah. I mean, I could go with Mr. Marshall too with 5 years. Either way.
Just to chime in, planning's recommendation is for permanent approval, basically conditional to emergency services. Which as of that is after speaking with legal, just doing these temporary city staff and resources and effort into bringing this petitioner back. We actually make money on it. So that's. Bunch of call outs, they can report that to planning, and then at that point, they're no longer meeting finding of facts. It's become. As
Not guilty, request a trial date, or see if we qualify for that.
Set a number on that right
I
now.
would turn in a late charge Friday,
I know
maybe
we
have
have
some
some
other
other uses.
If you need more time than that, we can allow you for 30 days with payment of an additional $25 late charge. I'm not allowed to
Forward.
from you for building more business. Anyone who does not pay within the time allowed by the court will have the driver's license suspended. For those of you here, don't carry possible jail time. You'll be advised individually.
This is a public meeting. If there's anyone that would like to speak to this petition, it'd be an opportunity to come forth or online. Second opportunity. Third and final opportunity to be heard. No one online? We'll close the public portion out, bring it back to the board for any other questions or motion.
I'll make a motion for approval of approval for petition 25-18, subject to the timeframe of March 1st through July 1st. And with all the documents that were submitted to us, it has the structure information, and it also has all of the layout information. So if there's any changes, they would need to come back in front of us as well.
A motion by Mr. Taylor,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Sauerman. Any further discussion? Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Dan Rohaven. Kevin Murphy. Dick Sauer.
Yes.
Nick Murphy.
Yes,
Aye for the clap.
so you are approved based on the items that we discussed. As long as there's no call outs or problems or issues, you won't have to come back
Understood.
and you're good for the time frame that you're looking for.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Okay. Next is petition -25-19, Fin4 Ventures LLC petitioner / owner. Request is a special use. Purpose is allow indoor cheerleading facility in an I-1 zone. Location is 1055 Trout Line Road. We have two more attached to this that I'm going to read in so that we can get opportunity here on all of them, and then we will vote for them separately. So next one would be 25-20, Fin4 Ventures LLC petitioner / owner. Request is variance from development standards. Purpose is allow encroachment of the side yard setback. Again, location 1055 Trout Line Road. And 25-22, Fin4 Ventures LLC petitioner / owner. Request is a variance from development standards. Purpose is allow encroachment of a rear yard setback. Location 1055 Trout Wine Road. You will state your name and address for the record and tell us what you'd like to do.
Yes, Russ Posen with DVG Team Inc. We are actually at 1155 Trotline Road in Crown Point, Indiana. I have the cheer representatives here that I'm going to let introduce themselves and tell a little bit of history about what they're trying to bring here. And then as soon as they're done, I'll go into the quick findings of fact and the variances. I have submitted findings of fact and the development variance findings of fact already for record, but I'll be touching on them briefly in the presentation.
Good evening, Chris Yanovich, 12203 White Oak Drive, Crown Point, Indiana. Member of the group looking to bring Indiana Cheer Elite All-Stars to Crown Point, Indiana. Started in 1996. We're looking to bring this program to Crown Point. We've been in discussions for about 3 or 4 years with the owner that started the company in 96 in Mishawaka. to bring a competitive program to this area. We have multiple athletes here throughout the area that are leaving to go to Westfield down in Indianapolis, or to Barrington, Illinois, to compete and look for a gym to strengthen their performance and get them ready for college. Northeast Indiana has seen a huge growth over the last 5 or 6 years, with people moving in from outside states, but also cheerleading has grown largely in this area. And we feel that this is the perfect time to grow with a new franchise in the area. ICE is a nationally known program, ranking in the top 3 in the country every year. The founder is still very involved, and she will be involved with the launch of the program here in Crown Point. So Danielle is part of the group with us, and she is currently the head coach at Crown Point.
Danielle Takis, 1328 Lehman Drive. As Chris said, we wanted to bring ICE here. I've been the head varsity coach at the high school for the past 12 years. And we work with both Taft and Wheeler, along with the Junior Bulldog cheerleaders and their competitive team. And not only at the high school, middle school, and now at the Junior Bulldog levels are we competitive, but we're seeing that growing rate of girls wanting to become a part of those competitive teams, and we want to provide that for them. So although there may be local facilities where they can train for tumbling and things of that nature, we want to prepare them best for collegiate opportunities, for middle school programs, for high school programs. And we feel that this is not only a reputable one that we can bring to them, but one that will flourish, and we hope to see that succeed.
A little bit of what kind of the logistics here. This development is actually on lot 3, which you can see on the screen, which is to the right, to the east. It's approximately 18,000 square foot. What we're trying to do is actually have a combined entrance into this facility, along with the soccer facility, which we'll talk about next. So one drive connection, and then a drive aisle and parking in the side yard setbacks. That'll be the variance that we're discussing. Some of the kind of, I think, important things about what we're trying to bring here that kind of cater to the special use and to it not being injurious to public health is that, these facilities are, it's cheer, it's athletic. These are businesses. And actually these 2 businesses that we're trying to bring along with actually, DVG to the east, all these businesses in this along Trotwine provide a very nice buffer to the residential to the north. North on Trotwine is all residential, and obviously this is zoned I-1. So permitted uses can be an auto body shop, can be light industrial, Bailmaster's right there. These types of things could come to these lots, no questions asked, permitted use, and that's very intrusive noise, semi trucks, traveling on Trotwine. We think that this is a nice buffer. These are great businesses and bring great, great families and kids to this area. And again, that buffer, south of this area, it's still industrial, most likely self-storage or something, obviously in the industrial zone permitted use. But again, nice buffer, kind of get that barrier between some folks. Speaking on the use and value, my daughter actually I'm a part of both these worlds, the soccer and the cheer, where my daughter's actually in a cheer facility. The type of folks that come here are, your parents, local talent. And obviously we've got folks that are in this area that go to Barrington, go to Westfield, Naperville. Those are dollars that could be spent at Crown Point. The types of uses here, it's drop off and pick up. Typically 2-hour stint that the kids dropped off. Parents really don't stay. Very few stay in the parking lot because there's really no viewing. They're there to train and there to practice. They don't, the parents, they can't really watch. So what do? Parents, we go use the square, Starbucks, even our restaurants here. They do their shopping. They spend money in the city. Great economic value to the area. And I touched on this, just briefly, but it's not your semis. It's parents. So it's I don't want to say the creme de la creme, but these are folks who are have kids and care. They're going to drive safe. If they don't want to bump into their kids, it's a really great use. I want touch to the kind of the final findings of fact for the special use. Peculiar to condition, peculiar to property. in any zoning district in the city, a fitness, health, sports facility is a special use. So no matter what zoning we are, we have to come before you to present and obviously seek approval. The city has actually been gracious enough in the past to approve other facilities very similar. Revolt Cheer and Tumble is here. Actually, Next Gen Soccer, which we'll talk about again, already in the industrial area, soccer use. Midwest is always here. Crown Point, actually, if you look around, we are an athletic community. Sparta Dome, Legacy Fields, we kind of cater to that area. It just so happens that these type of facilities work best in industrial areas because the heights, clear span, and things like that. So again, I think these are great uses, great buffers. The variances, speaking about that, I think it's pretty easy to explain. The side yard setback, obviously, we're combining the lot, we're combining the driveways into one lot right down the center for the drive. So we're putting pavement in the side yard setback. In this particular facility, we are seeking a rear yard setback. We're seeking to be 10 foot into the setback. The thing about these facilities, obviously the lot to the south, lot 2, that's going to have a fence. That's going to be self-storage. In all honesty, nobody's going to really, I think, be bothered by that 10-foot encroachment. But the need of these facilities, why we have to kind of be in that setback is, the office space and the bathrooms take up very little of these buildings. It's all the tumble space. You need large to be safe, large floors to tumble. They have different teams in the area. It creates a big building, and there's really no industrial space left for sale in Crown Point. Obviously these folks would have to go and take their business to Maryville, to others, which we don't want. We want in the hub here where all our good athletes are and where people want to be. But again, because of the function of the building, we have to encroach in the rear yard. I think hopefully I've hit everything in simplistically. I can let obviously you folks to have questions or comments, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much. Mr. Watson, staff report.
Petitioner is requesting a special use to allow an 18,000 square foot cheerleading facility in the highway industrial. Property is located at 1055 Trout Line Road. Trout Line Industrial Park, directly in the southwest corner of Trout Line and Hollywood Road. It is bordered by R3 residential to the north, Highway industrial to the east and the west. The proposed development would act as a buffer between the residential north and industrial use to the south. If approved, the petition will operate during the standard business hours. The petitioner has been given enough parking. The overall development is also standards to approach the side yard setback and the rear yard setback. The west side yard setback would be a reduction to 0 to allow a shared drive aisle and shared parking. Both will be managed by a shared access and parking agreement that must be submitted with any site development applications. Rear setback would be an encroachment of the 20-foot setback. This will allow the structure to sit further back away from the residential and next to a self-storage facility. No calls of support or demonstration have been received by primary parking. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail, and the notice has been published in the newspaper. 2518, 2520.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sauerman, questions to the petitioner?
First of all, I just want clarification on the rear setback. It says 4.5 feet here. You're saying it's 10 feet?
We are so the building footprint it's towards the end, but it's in progress still. And I think the more that we've been discussing internally, I need that extra, we'll say the extra 5.5 feet. So that's why we're requesting the 10 foot.
10 feet, okay.
Yes.
All right. Did you say this is a franchise?
Yes, ICE is a national cheerleading gym. So we have cheerleading gyms in Crown Point, Midwest and Revolt, which I would say those are local folks. Midwest maybe has 2, but ICE is nationally, and they do compete at the highest level down in Florida all the time. Again, my daughter's in the cheer world actually at the other gym, but so I respect and know these gyms. I see ice everywhere. So yes, they're very well known, very reputable, and they're across the country.
So does the franchisor then dictate how large the facility has to be based on some type of volume calculation? or-
Yeah, and the word franchise, so Darlene, who is the owner of the ice, is gonna be a partner with us. So essentially she comes in and helps from the start, get everything kind of running. We've known Darlene for 20 plus years. When I was at Purdue and cheered there, I worked with Darlene when she was in Mishawaka. So based on her current locations and what seems to work the best, we looked at multiple locations in this area up to 12, 13, 14,000 square feet. But like really the sweet spot is around 18,000 total, because that gives us the ability to have 4 full floors, 2 tumble tracks, and then it gives us the opportunity to stay here when we grow to 300 plus athletes, monthly, that are coming in and out of there. We don't have to look for another space. We're looking to build here at this location and stay here for 20 plus years, for as long as until we outgrow that space, which is, we hope that happens with the demand, right? But we didn't want to come here and then be looking in 5 years for something else. So.
Okay. Then regarding the shared access, so I'm just curious, the CP Storage LLC, is that a company that has the same principles as Finfor then, the one we're
So
looking
the
at right now?
CP Storage, that's the entity who owns the property currently. The user is Next Generation Soccer Facility. And obviously he's going to be looking to buy it as soon as he can, but yeah, the actual owner of the property is CP Storage.
I see. Okay. And this shared access agreement, is that a perpetual agreement? How are those written?
Binding upon all successors entitled.
Okay.
Yep, and actually I just saw drafts of those today, so they are in progress, and we know the drill. We know to submit them for draft for the Plan Commission, and with the intent or the requirement, excuse me, that they have to get recorded along with the development.
Okay. Thank you. I have no more questions.
Mr. O'Haley?
So it's the building that's coming into the building line on the south.
Correct.
Leave a 10-foot, is that what you're looking for?
10 foot,
A
please, yes.
10-foot south building line where 20 is required.
Correct.
Okay. And the only other variance you need on this is the use of
The use in the
Sure.
side yard, yeah, the side
so
yard.
those are the only two.
Yes.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. These are, industrial, and again, there's like I pointed out, there's not a whole lot of industrial space left, and that's where these things fit. So, this is perfect besides a little bit of things that we need. These really are great. And actually, I do find that the location is the best, considering, DVG is also there, and this is a great buffer to continue the row.
Jeremy mentioned side yard. We don't need variance for side yard.
Yeah, it's on.
It's for the shared.
It's the shared access.
Shared part.
Yes.
So there's 3 there.
Yeah, there's the use and then the chief of the environment.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, as we saw.
Mr. Marshall?
Well, I look at your business like a machine shop, so, I think it's great you're moving to Crown Point. I think cheering's a great sport. Not much of a cheerleader myself. I'm okay with the side with the shared access. I always, get a little nervous when got a blank lot and we're already trying to push it on the neighbors, 10 foot instead of 20. But we've allowed this in industrial parks, other industrial buildings in Crown Point. So I guess based on past experiences here, I'm hesitant, but I can understand it. So usually I would tell you to find a bigger lot, but I think this one would probably be okay.
And just for the record, the property owner to the south of this separated into 2 is also the same property owner as this.
What?
CP
Oh,
storage.
Storage owns the property itself as well.
We're all friendly and then we all sell, and everybody starts the band, right?
There you go. There you go.
But, yeah, that's the only thing I get a little nervous about is, giving variance to backyards when, we don't have anything in the ground yet, But that's all I have to say.
Mr. Taylor,
I don't have any questions.
this is a public meeting. If there's anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this petitions, be an opportunity to come forth or online. Second opportunity to be heard. Third and final. Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to city council for petition 25-19 to allow indoor cheerleading facility in an I-1 zone, subject to a fully executed shared access parking and utilities. Approve the encroachment of the drives east and west. Encroachment into the south 20-foot building line to allow for a 10-foot building line on the south. Subject to all. That's for petition 2519.
I have a motion by Mr. O'Haley, seconded by Mr. Taylor. Yes, sir.
I thought we were voting on them separately.
Yeah,
We are.
Mine was only just a motion on 2519.
It's contingent on the next two, basically. Pass. Right? Is that how I understand?
It's not like we were voting at all.
No, I just said 2519. So I said
No, we bundled them together to hear
just to
everything.
hear them.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna,
Listening to the motion, it sounded like it was all together.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, if you call the roll.
Randy Taylor,
Yes.
Dan O'Haley.
Yep.
John Marshall.
Yes.
Dick Summers.
Yes.
Nick Mister.
Yes. So we have a favorable recommendation going to the city council, where they'll make the final decision on that.
Yeah, we probably should incorporate the findings of fact. In that. And, sure we have the findings of fact. In
Is Mr. Iraq on? Maybe he can answer that question.
Yes, I think we should incorporate the same fully executed shared access agreement on all the motions for, all petitions, which I'm drafting into the findings as we talk, because I think it should reflect on every one of them, Dan.
we have to revote that, or- Hello?
I'm here.
Joe, do we have to revote this, or is this automatically have the findings of fact included in the motion and vote?
Why don't you read them in on the findings on both, but on all three petitions?
Okay, we already took the vote on the first one, so how do we fix it?
It's breaking up. I think we just include the shared access agreement on all petitions. I would like to have that in the record.
Yeah, we did that. We just didn't incorporate the findings of fact into the vote and motion.
Well, I think that we should go back and rescind and then make the motion and include the findings of fact.
Okay, I'll withdraw my motion.
Then a new motion, please include the findings.
Oh, we need to withdraw the motion and then withdraw the second.
Right.
Withdraw on the motion. There withdraw on the second. You did.
Understood. I made a motion to withdraw my motion.
And you withdraw the second?
And we withdrew the second, so now we're back to the beginning.
Okay, and then just please include the findings.
Okay, this time I'll make a motion
Well, let's,
to vote.
got to vote first. We got the
Oh.
motion in a second. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rohede.
Yeah,
John Marshall. Dick Sauer.
Yes.
Nick Middleton.
Yes. Okay, the floor is open for a motion.
and now I'll make a motion to approve or to send a favorable recommendation to the city council to allow an indoor cheerleading facility in an I-1 zone. So incorporating all the findings of fact and the shared access, parking, and utility easement. Really, that's all we need, though.
That's all you need on that one.
I'll second that.
So a motion by Mr. Rohaley, seconded by Mr. Taylor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rohede.
Yes, again.
John Marshall. Dick Sauer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you have a favorable recommendation going to the city council where they'll make the final recommendation or approval on
June 2nd.
June 2nd. So I make sure that you are here to answer any questions they
Sure,
have.
Of course.
With that said, petition 25-22. 20, sorry.
The chairman will make a motion to approve the variance from development standards for petition 25-20 to allow a 10-foot south setback and encroachment of the drives on the east and west of the parking lot.
Do we need a public hearing for this one separately?
Did we call for a public hearing on all matters, Mr. President?
We heard all three of them and opened up the public portion. Had no feedback.
Well, why don't you, to address it and keep a clean record, why don't you open up a public hearing on this one?
Okay. Petition 25-20, this is a public meeting. If there's anyone who'd like to speak to this petition, be an opportunity to come forth or online. Second opportunity. Third and final. Hearing none, we'll close that portion out. And we have the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Have a second by Mr. Taylor. Any further discussion?
This is only for 25.
Yes, 25-20 only.
With the findings of fact and the shared access agreement.
Correct. You did say that.
Yep.
And carefully, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rohede.
Yeah.
John Marshall. Dick Sauer.
Yes.
Nick Middleton.
Yes. And finally, 25-22, public comments, open to the public. First opportunity to be heard. Second opportunity. No one online, third and final. We will close the public portion out and floor is open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the variance from development standards to allow encroachment of 10-foot south or the 20-foot setback on the south to allow just a 10-foot. The encroachment of the drives on the east and the west and subject to a shared access parking and utility agreement and reincorporating again all the findings of fact.
Motion by Mr. Rohaley,
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
You got it right this time.
the second by Mr. Marshall.
Third time. Finally get it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, will call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rohede.
Yeah.
John Marshall. Dick Sauer.
Yes.
Nick Middleton.
Yes. Okay. You're
Thank
all
you.
set for now.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, next on the agenda is 25-23, CP Storage LLC petitioner / owner. Request is a special use, public hearing. Purpose is to allow soccer training facility in an I-1 industrial zone, location 1025 Troutline. Coupled with two more, 25-24 CP Storage LLC, petitioner / owner. Request is a variance from development standards, allow encroachment of the side yard setback, location 1025 Troutline. And 25-26 CP Storage LLC, petitioner / owner, request a variance from development standards. Purpose allow encroachment of the rear yard setback, location 1025 Troutline Road. Name and address again for the record?
Yes, Russ Posen with DVG Team Inc., 1155 Troutline Road, Crown Point, Indiana. As stated before, I'll get into the findings of fact and some of the details, but the end user, I'd like him to introduce himself and kind of talk a little bit more about the facility, so you're fully comfortable with what he's bringing over here.
Hello, gentlemen. My name's Andy Bridgman. My address is 1075 Brookman Drive in Crown Point, Indiana. I'm the owner of Next Generation Soccer Training and Education, which is an independent soccer training school. I first came to the United States in 2009 and worked for Chicago Fire, the MLS team, and lived in Chicago. During that time, I came down, visited Crown Point, which interested me a lot. The only way I could describe what Crown Point was to me when I visited was it reminded me of Back to the Future, because it was the square with the courthouse in the middle. And obviously in England, we don't have things like that. So that's the only way I described it. So after a year up in the city, I went home. Crown Point was still a place that I wanted to visit many times. So I started coming back and then ended up meeting my wife here, from which we then got married and decided to continue my soccer coaching career and helping players with the sport growing incredibly quickly in the United States. My first place where we started the business was over in Maryville in Hallmark, which was a very old sporting place that's been here many years. And we kind of grew the business. I grew the business in the dingy little corner with all the bad smells and marks on the walls and things. And as the business grew, meeting lots of people, Crown Point was always where I wanted to bring it. And an opportunity came to lease a building on Brookman Drive, which I did. And I was just in the right place at the right time. Leased that building for 5 years. Very quickly started to outgrow that building as well. Hence why we're in front of you today, ready for the next step, which for me is going to achieve the end goal for me, the dream, to be here in Crown Point, to continue helping players. Now we're an independent training school, so we don't have teams. We're not a club. We do a lot of personal training. So one-on-one stuff, we sit down, we have a classroom, we train the players on what they need and help them with their journey from 3 years old all the way up to adults. We have coming in. We have about 14 coaches now, which is a fantastic team. A lot of them live in Crown Point, and certainly love the area as much as we do. We do have, obviously we're looking to expand, we're looking to grow. So we'll be leaving the building at Brookman Drive because we kind of shoehorned ourselves in there, ready for the next step now. So we're just looking for that next step of growth. And with the World Cup coming next year to the United States, soccer is going to boom once again, like it did in 1994. Which is when the World Cup was here last. So being an independent service, we're there for a lot of the players growing up and asking us questions where they don't feel they can do that in their clubs. So we kind of help them understand the game a little bit more, coming from a different culture of football, soccer background, the need for this area for Crown Point. We work with Crown Point Youth Soccer. So I train all their coaches from in-house to travel. So they come to me, and having a place where they can come during the day and ask questions and extend their knowledge But we just have a very enjoyable atmosphere to learn, explore the game, and just fall in love with it, which is we love every single day that we do. So to have a facility like this that I've dreamed of and our coaches dream of too would be incredible, especially if we can keep it in Crown Point, because we're drawing people from South Bend, Illinois now. Because we're independent, it's hard to find that. So we're bringing people in. Parents love to drop their kids off, come into the square because we're just around the corner on Brookman Drive. So as I say, we encourage people to see the square and things like that. I know our staff like to come out during this after their sessions, and we meet in the square and things like that. But yeah, so that's pretty much me at Next Gen.
Thank you.
A little more nuances of the building, actually, and very similar to what we previously discussed. This building is about 12,500 square feet. Inside, he's going to have offices. He's actually going to have more artificial turf field inside his facility, obviously to fit inside the building. And then the exterior that I show you in the dark is an outdoor artificial turf field, very similar, almost exact to what he's got already in the other facility. This, again, the findings of fact for the special use and variances, I submitted it for record, but again, I'll just touch on that and I'll be even quicker. This is very much the same thing, except for a nuance that I'll get to. Again, beautiful buffer between the residential and the industrial. Again, parents who are local and far, again, very, you bring in the good clientele that use Crown Point, use the services, the square, the restaurants. It's great economic growth. It's again a very similar drop off and pickup style for folks, because again, they go out there and use the facilities. This particular development, as far as variances go, actually is a little bit I would say easier nuance wise. We have the same side yard setback variance that we're requesting because of the shared access in the drive, but in this one in the rear, we are encroaching to 5 foot, so 15-foot full encroachment for the artificial turf field. Again, it's not a full-size field by any means, but he needs space to get their activities, and it's basically the same as what he has. But what's interesting about the artificial turf field, yes, it is a variance to request it because it's considered impervious, it's got a curb, it's hardscape. But in all honesty, it's just it's a playing surface. It's a soccer field. If this was grass with stripes, no variance. That's just grass. So that little nuance, I think, gives it hopefully it's easier for the board to understand and to approve to be before you, because again, it is hardscape and that is a part of the ordinance. Again, I've touched on a lot of the other things with this facility. I know actually I've known Andy for a long time too. My son was actually in his club when he was young too. So brings a good quality training facility, and the kids in this area, just like cheer and all other athletics, we're our hub for athletics. So we'd like to keep great talent here and great talent, keep them training and getting better for our high schools and beyond. So questions, comments?
Mr. Watson, staff report.
Special use 12,500 square foot soccer training facility in Iowa industrial zone. Property is located at 1025 Trotwood Road, the Trotwood Industrial Park, directly to the southwest corner of the drive. Parcel is bordered by R3 residential to the north and I-1 industrial to the east, south, and west. Approved, the petitioner will operate a soccer training facility during standard business hours. Has been given enough parking to cover the maximum number of cars. The need for use arises from the success of the current location on Brookman Drive. The overall development is also seeking variances from development standards, the side yard setback and the rear yard setback. The west side yard setback would be reduced. The east side yard setback would be reduced to 0 to allow a shared drive aisle and shared parking. The goal will be managed by a shared access and parking agreement and must be submitted within the site plan applications. The rear setback would be an encroachment of 14.5 feet and a 20-foot setback. This will allow the installation of artificial turf fields in the rear of the building adjacent to the self-storage facility.
July first.
No calls for remonstration have been received by the planning department. Element says that certified mail. The notice has been published in the newspaper. Planning department recommends approval of petitions 2523, 2524, 2526.
Thank you very much. Mr. Taylor, questions?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Marshall?
It's gonna come for site review at planning commission, right?
Yes, sir.
So planning on drainage for the hard surface.
So for the artificial turf field?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, this whole subdivision has a regional detention basin that was done in the subdivision to the northwest. And all the storm sewers were sized for the 100-year storm to take these lots. So we are taking the site drainage and getting into that storm system to go to the detention basin. And the way that the nuance works with an artificial turf field is we have perforated pipe underneath it, because it does actually, even though we considered it a hardscape, it actually there is pervious, so water goes straight through it. So again, we'll collect that water and send it in the storm system, all per ordinance. And yeah, we've done these type of fields several times.
No structure whatsoever in the 15-foot.
No, that is not a, the only thing that will be in the artificial turf field is, it is gonna be a netting, because it's soccer balls, and then there'll be some lights that are not gonna be your full stadium lighting. So there will be some lights on those poles, but no, I would say not a structure, no building, things like that.
Oh, you know, I went to 10-foot on the last one, now we're at 5-foot, so I'm just,
Yes.
pretty soon it'll be no lot line, so. Just letting you know, Russ, you're getting awful close over there.
I'm trying.
All right, that's all I have.
Mr. Riley?
I have no, this is size large enough for most of these facilities for parking, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We should have more than enough. I just don't want them parking on Trout Lane Road.
Nope, and we've looked at that. This is a very much a drop-off pickup, but when a good thing about the cheer is really nobody can view, so really is mainly drop-off. There are, some folks who do stay for the soccer, but he's aware of that. It's not that many parents, and we'll be sharing that more thoroughly with Josh. But again, it's folks mainly leave, only some stay here. But yeah, we have ample parking, and then the shared access is helpful because they have different times. It is very sporadic. He could have folks every hour on the outer. The cheer usually is 2-hour increments, so it's only at the transition where it gets a little bit heavier. So they're actually a very good complementary facility, and yeah, we definitely have looked at the parking and we feel very comfortable with it.
I think the fact are good.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Sauerman?
I like it. I just have one question, and that is going back to the whole rear setback thing. Is there anything magical about having 12 feet between the building and the
Yes,
and the
so on
outdoor
his,
field?
of course, I think it's a great question. So at the back of his building, he's gonna have overhead doors. So immediately inside the building is where his indoor soccer facility is. So the key there is to open up those overhead doors and have players come from the inside to the outside, and the 12-foot, and actually, what is 10 to or 11 and a half to 12. We want his parents to be able to, every once in a while, to be able to maybe sit down on a chair, watch their kid, the coaches get some space, maybe have a patio. It creates a better circulation and a good environment for the training. Again, this is for the parents and the kids. So he wants to make a very good experience for everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
This is a public meeting. If there's anyone who'd like to come forth, speak on this petition, be an opportunity to do so at this time.
Would we like to open it up for public comment on all 3 petitions?
Can we do that all at once?
I believe we can.
Well, then we are opening up the public comment on all 3 petitions. If there's anyone who'd like to question or comment on any of the 3, be an opportunity to come forth and do so at this time. Second opportunity? Anyone online? Third and final? Hearing none, we'll close the public portion out and bring it back to the board.
Motion for a favorable recommendation for petition 25-23 to include the submitted finding of facts as well as the recorded parking and shared access agreement.
A motion by Mr. Taylor,
No second.
seconded by Mr. Marshall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Dan Rahaywood.
Yes.
John Marshall. Dick Solomon.
Yes.
Nick Nisbet.
Yes. Again, favorable recommendation to the city council on June 2nd. Need to be here and answer any questions they have for final approval. 25-24. Open for a motion.
An approval of petition 25-24 to allow the encroachment in the side yard setback to include the finding of facts as well as the shared access agreement recorded.
A motion by Mr. Taylor,
No second.
second by Mr. Marshall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rahaywood.
Yes.
John Marshall.
Yes.
Dick Solomon.
Yes.
Nick Nisbet.
Yes. And last but not least, petition 25-26.
Make a favorable, or I'll make a motion for approval for petition 25-26 to allow encroachment of rear yard setback to include all the finding of facts
15 foot.
up to 15 foot in the setback.
A motion by Mr. Taylor for approval. Is there a second?
No second.
Second by Mr. Marshall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan Rahaywood.
Yes.
John Marshall. Dick Solomon.
Yes.
Nick Nisbet.
Yes. Okay. We're all
Thank you.
set.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is petition 25-27. Ellen N. Sistoveris, petitioner / Alpha King LLC owner, requested a special use. Purpose is allow a fitness facility in B3 business zone. Location is 1849 East Summit Street. Hi, if you'll state your name and address for the record and tell us what you'd like to do.
Yes, my name is Ellen Sistoveris. I'm at 843 Sylvia Lane in Crown Point. I am hoping to open Lenny's Pilates at 1849 East Summit. So seeking special use allowance for a fitness studio in that business B3 zone. I'm from Crown Point and moved back here 5 years ago from Chicago and am hoping to open up this business. I'm very passionate about Pilates and what it can do for the community. I attend Pilates classes here now, and it is a growing field with the demand in the region. There are wait lists at every studio in town and across towns. And so hoping to really open the doors to offer reformer Pilates classes, private lessons, yoga classes, as well as other mixed workouts for everybody. So at every fitness level, we will have classes available to really be an inclusive environment for the community. I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
All right, give us a moment. Mr. Watson, staff report.
Sir, petitioner is requesting a special use to allow a fitness facility in a B3 business zone. Property is located at 1849 East Summit Street on the south side of the street, just to the west of North Superior Drive. Parcel is bordered by B3 business on all sides. If approved, the petitioner will operate a yoga and Pilates facility during standard business hours. The use is similar to approvals given to other businesses in the area. Property had also received variance from development standards to approach the front setback to allow additional parking in the past. No calls of support or remonstration have been received by the planning department. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail. The notice has been published in the newspaper. Planning Department recommends approval of petition 2527.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sauerman, any questions?
No, I guess my only concern would be parking, but
Yeah, so there's a fairly large parking lot that's shared by that strip of businesses. And we will have classes, so it's appointment only. So it's when classes are available. And we will have classes throughout the day, but the bulk of our classes will be, early in the morning and then into early evening. So most of the businesses in that strip are during kind of standard business hours. And so we, haven't had any issues and don't anticipate any in that large parking lot.
okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Mr. O'Haley?
Yeah, my only concern was the parking in there. I didn't sometimes, but no, you have staggered hours. How many people do you have in there in any given class?
Yeah, at our maximum, if all rooms are being utilized, it'll be about 20 people. And I've gone at all hours of the day and there's always ample parking. There are kind of busy times, but I think some of the businesses are more kind of in and out. Our classes are about 50 to 60 minutes. So pretty quick turn times.
Do you monitor, the parking in and out and stuff?
Mhm. Yeah.
Got a good handle on.
Yes, and I asked the landlord as well as the previous tenants. It was a different business type, but there were concerns about parking in the lot.
So I have
Mr. Marshall?
Well, after all the fitness that we've approved tonight and in the past, I don't know how we would be against this. The only question I have is I know what yoga is, but I don't know what Pilates is.
Yeah, so sure. So it's a kind of stretching and aerobic exercise. So you can either do it on the floor on mats, or you can do it on special machines called reformers. So we'll have both in our different classes. So really great for coordination, core strength, a lot of overall strength. So, and we will have yoga and then also other workout classes, so more cardio classes in one of our bigger rooms.
Well,
It's all
I'm
the
sure all
rage.
that would help me, but I would say you probably won't see me there, so.
I was gonna suggest we send you to kind of
Yes.
test it out.
I'm
I
happy.
would do that. I would test it out.
I'm happy for you to come test it out. No,
I
sorry.
don't have any-
No
I
goats.
don't see any problem with this petition and I don't have any further questions.
Mr. Taylor?
I don't have anything.
This is a public meeting. If there's anyone out there like to speak to this petition, be an opportunity to come forth. First opportunity. Second opportunity, assume there's no one online. Third and final. Hearing none, we'll close the public portion out, bring it back to the board.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the city council for special use for Pilates classes in a B3 zone located at 1849 East Summit Street, incorporating all the findings of that.
Motion by Mr. O'Haley for a favorable recommendation,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Sauerman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dan O'Haley.
Yes.
John Marshall.
Yes.
Dick Sauerman.
Yes.
Nick Nosovich.
Yes, so we will send a favorable recommendation. Make sure you're here on June 2nd, finish answering their questions, and good luck.
Thank you.
Miscellaneous, anything under miscellaneous? Anything from the board?
5:30. The ethics seminar at Avalon. 5:30.
Ethics seminar, 5:30 at the Avalon. No stretching there.
Just my mind, which.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
The motion